first book talk. Today we're going to talk about some of the books that we have read in the past year that we enjoyed, many of which were just surprise picks, things we found on the shelves and ended up really enjoying. Okay, so let's start. Our first ones that we actually both have on top are historical fiction books. I read The Lost Girls of Paris, which is about some females who are part of the French Resistance. They're spies, and how they came to be spies, and then it goes a little bit into, or it goes a lot into, their adventures and what ends up happening to them.
Okay, the one I read is The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. This is a very, very good book. It deals with the person who was chosen to tattoo the numbers on the individuals who were put in the concentration camps. I will tell you, it's a tough read. I've always said I'm going to investigate it, and I haven't, but this is a very true depiction, and they had to have had someone in their family, or they just did really good research. But it is a very good book, but it is a little tough in parts. So, but very good book.
All right, so put those there. And then this one we both read, Marilla of Green Gables, and both of us enjoyed. And it's based off of the Anne of Green Gables story. And do you want to go ahead and go a little there from?
Well, Anne of Green Gables is my favorite, and Marilla is my favorite character.
She's an awesome character.
Yeah, she's by far my favorite character. So when I saw the title, it was one I knew I was going to read, but very good.
Yeah, if you're an Anne of Green Gables fan, definitely go with that one. And then we'll just go through our stacks a little bit, I guess. This one is an older one that I just picked up. We had read Still Alice in our book club, and so I enjoyed that one, and I wanted to see what else this author wrote. And this book here is about a concert pianist, a professional one, who gets ALS. So about 8 months into this condition, Richard loses his left arm. It becomes paralyzed. And then in comes Corinna, who is his ex, and circumstances lead her to come back and stay with Richard and take care of him. So this was a very good read. I highly recommend it.
This one is one that I just read not too long ago, A Week at the Shores by Barbara Delinsky. If you haven't ever read her, she's a very good one. This particular book is about a family. It's a lady. She has two sisters. She's been away from her family for a long time, for about 20 years. She goes back to visit with her teenage daughter now, and I'm not going to give too much away, but there's a scandal, and a lot of family secrets are found out during that 7 days that they are there. So very, very good read. If you like the family drama type reads, this is definitely one you should try.
Okay, this author here, Catherine Center, I'll give you a book. This author is one that we just picked up on the shelf, and several of our staff members have read her now, and we just really enjoy her books. This is her newest one, and then I know that this one is Sherry's favorite, and this is about a female firefighter. You want to give a little?
Yeah, she's a female firefighter, of course, in a department full of men. That's some of the issue there, but I don't want to give too much away. But yeah, there's a relationship. Something had happened to her years ago that she is still dealing with.
So this is an author that we are all very excited about. Someone new, if you're looking for a new author, she is recommended by our staff for sure. All right, you want to do your next top one?
This next one I have is my go-to girl, Ellen Hildebrand. I love her. I read everything that she puts out. This one is probably one of my favorites of hers, Summer of '69. It does have a lot of historical references to the summer of '69, but she's very good. She's not overly romance. There's always some little, either a mystery or a scandal or something with a little bit of romance sprinkled in. So if you're not a big fan of romance, she is definitely one to try. But very good. Definitely recommend this one.
Okay. Another one that I read this year was Finding Dorothy, and this is based off of The Wizard of Oz. It's actually about, I just lost his name, Baum, who wrote Wizard of Oz. It's his wife, and she kind of tells the story of how they came to find Dorothy and who would play Dorothy and how that character all came about. But it's not written in a nonfiction kind of way. It's written in more of a humorous, fun kind of way, and gives you a little, you feel like you're peeking behind the scenes when it's really a fiction book. So definitely recommend that one.
This is another one of my favorite authors, Jodi Picoult. If you have never read her, again, highly recommend her. She is known for her surprise endings. You think you have it figured out, but you never do, because it never ends the way you think it will. This particular book, Small Great Things, has to do with civil rights issue. And the main character is a nurse, and there is, at the very beginning of the book, there is something that happens because of a civil rights issue. So, again, don't want to give away too much, but definitely worth taking a look at.
Okay, since she did civil rights, I'll go to this one. I read this book, was actually the first book I read by Lise Wheel, and thoroughly enjoyed it. This whole book was written based on this picture taken during a civil rights rally, and Lisa's true dad was a former FBI agent, and he sent her this picture, and she wrote this whole book just based around this picture, but it is a fiction story. It's a story of a civil rights rally, and the speaker gets shot and killed, and then the guy who is on death row, the character's name is Lisa, she goes and she's trying to prove that he didn't actually do that, and in order to do that, she has to go in search of the little girl that she's seated next to in the picture. So I thought that was kind of cool that she tied her real life into this fiction story. So I recommend her. She also has some thriller books. This whole Triple Threat series is excellent. The characters in it are three strong women. I believe one's a detective, and I believe the others are a reporter and a lawyer. And then they combine forces to solve different mysteries and crimes. So excellent series.
Okay, the next two I have here are a little different than my norm. This is Class Mom and You've Been Volunteered. Both of these are by Lori Gelman. If you like humor, this is definitely something you should try. She is a mom. She has two college-age daughters, and then she gets a little surprise. And when her little surprise is in kindergarten, she becomes the class mom, and she has to deal with a variety of personalities and just different situations, and I literally laughed most of the book, or chuckled mostly through this book. This is kind of like the next book, because this picks up when the little boy is in 3rd grade, so she gets to be class mom again. But if you definitely like a little lighter reading, these are definitely ones to try.
Okay. Then this book, The One Good Thing by Kevin Allen Milne, this is one of my favorite books, I think, of the year, and I've recommended this to several of our patrons. This is the story of a man who carried rocks around in his pocket, and he didn't really explain, I mean, the reader knows, but he didn't explain to others what the rocks were about. But his goal each day was to do kind things for other people. And so when he is killed while doing one of these acts, some people start writing in, and some of those messages kind of, I don't want to give too much away, they kind of trigger into action his family and trying to figure out what the truth was, because it seems that maybe he wasn't as good of a guy as he was coming across as. And so, excellent book, well written, it moves along quickly.
Okay, the next one I have, I will tell you, I was here and looking for a book to read, and honestly, the only reason I took this book was because I thought the cover was pretty. And I thought, you know, I've never read anything by this author, so I thought I would try it, and I absolutely loved it. The title is Always by Sarah Gio. And this story is about a girl who is engaged to be married, and she is going into a restaurant, and someone from her past is there, and the person that she runs into is a homeless individual, and anyway, the story goes into her helping this individual, and there's a lot more in the story, but I don't want to give it all away, so you already know what you're reading about, but it is a little on the romancy side, not overly romantic though, because that's not my cup of tea, but it is a very good read. She's a very good author, and like I said, I just took it because I like the flowers on the cover, but it's a good read.
All right, my next one is actually one of my go-to authors. I really enjoy Irene Hannon. She writes a variety of books, which is good. So she writes the thrillers, and she has several series that she writes, and this one is from her Code of Honor series. But I like her because her writing just flows. She does a lot of dialoguing between her characters, not a lot of bogging down with details about what the grass looks like or something like that. So her stories move along, a lot of thrillers, but she also is versatile, and she writes also romance. These are kind of Hallmarky type books, but they're nice, easy reads. They're those books that when you just want a comforting moment, you want to sit down and unwind rather than getting maybe a little bit intense. These are good reads too, but she's a great author. Her writing just flows along, so definitely recommend her.
Okay, this is one that I just finished, and I absolutely love her. I definitely am going to be reading more of her. This one is The Swallow's Nest by Emily Richards. And it deals with a lady and her husband. Her husband is ill, and through some circumstances, they are dealing with a baby that comes into their life unexpectedly, and it is very much a drama type book, and there's several characters. Honestly, some I do not like. Of course, that's in every book, but some you like, some you don't. So, but again, this is one that I just picked up off the shelf and thought I would try. The excerpt about it sounded interesting, so glad I did. Very good. If you do like the family drama type of writing, this is definitely one that you should try.
All right, for my last book, this book was recommended to me by one of our patrons, a long time coming. This book was a little bit hard, but it was a great story. It's a story about a family who's been divided by what they thought was the truth, and as we often find out in life, what we think is the truth is not always what the truth really is. And so they kind of work through that, and the book goes through that process.
And my last book is actually a nonfiction. It's a memoir. And actually there's going to be a nonfiction segment coming up, but this was one of my favorites. So, and I don't think the other ladies have read this one, but this is Educated by Tara Westover, and an excellent, excellent, excellent book. It deals with a family. They start out normal, just your normal everyday family, and then reading between the lines, you kind of get the understanding that the dad goes through some kind of a mental something, and he takes them, and they live off the grid, and basically she doesn't go to school for many, many years after that. But there's a lot of things that happen to this family, and it just makes you wonder that any of them actually survived. I was actually painting when I listened to this on the audio book, and I was actually painting, and I caught myself literally painting the same section of wall for a long time because I was so engrossed in this book. Very good. Even if you're not a nonfiction person, I'd recommend you just give it a try.
All right, we hope you enjoyed this segment. We do have some upcoming ones, as Sherry stated. Kim and Haiti will be doing nonfiction, and then Sherry and I will be back later this month doing another one on some of our other favorites that we have covered. And so don't forget to like, share, and comment so that we know you enjoyed it.